Welcome back, everyone, to another Falcon and the Winter Soldier breakdown. I'm sorry about the two posters, but I just like this show so much. Anyway, about these posters, though, you see a lot of details, like John Walker, you see Bucky's new metal arm, Sam, Sharon Carter, the Flag Smashers, and then you see random people in the background. But yeah, so the series opens with a very clever reference to Iron Man. I cannot show you this on screen though, but it does open with Sam ironing his clothes because the suit that he's wearing right now, and then there's a cat. So there's Iron, and then Man. So because Sam's a man, so yeah, Iron Man. Anyway, then he's on a mission. Now he's in Tunisia, which is in northern Africa, and he's supposed to rescue a guy named Captain Vassant who was captured and his plane got taken. So Sam has to rescue him, but he also has to make sure not to cross into Libyan airspace. If you're confused by what I'm saying, I'm about to explain right now. So this is Tunisia, where Sam and the plane are going in, and basically they can't enter any other. They cannot enter any other country. They can't enter any other country. So there's Libya right here, and then there's Algeria, and then yeah. So they cannot exit Tunisian airspace. So that's gonna be tough for Sam. So yeah. So he heads up, and also one detail is that he does not give in any backup. So this whole scene is pretty impressive. Like this whole fight is pretty sequenced. He also gets an updated version of Red Wing, who basically does the talk thing, where that like R2D2 does from Star Wars. But yeah, and then on the ground of Tunisia, there is this Lieutenant Torres, and now Torres in the comics is named Joaquin Torres, and he's actually someone who takes on the mantle of Falcon after he's turned into a human bird hybrid. But yeah, now the person leading this is Batroc the Leaper, returning from Captain America: Winter Soldier, and then he captured Captain Vassant. And one detail I'm gonna say is number one, his costume looks better, so that's good. Cause yeah, and then Sam kind of enters this thing. Now, one thing I really don't like about this fight scene is it's too dark for me to see anything. You see, I'm one of those people who likes to follow the action, especially when you're watching a fight scene. So the fact that I cannot see people throwing punches is kind of annoying, and I really don't like that. But yeah, but I do love this shot, which is why I put it on screen right now. I do love this shot on why how his wings can just fold in and he can just block bullets. But yeah, now, another one mistake that Batroc makes is that he's fighting Sam on his own terms. What I mean by that is that he's trying to exit the plane and at the same time shoot stuff at him, while Sam is like someone who literally flies everywhere. He literally flew to get here, so why would you do that? But this chase scene is amazing, though. It did definitely make up for the bad choreography in the first pilot plane fight scene. But yeah, and then a helicopter joins the fight and they try to shoot him, and then yeah, so Batroc makes a very dumb mistake by trying to fight Sam on his own terms. So that's why he goes into the helicopter, which and they're also entering Tunisian airspace. But eventually, Falcon is able to save Captain Vassant, and they end up going into Tunisia. And then a man thanks him for saving his wife, and then he says, "I'm always happy to help." So this basically confirms that Sam is bilingual, which is something I'll get to later with Bucky. But yeah, so Sam knows the only languages we know on screen that he has shown is Arabic and English. He hasn't learned. Sam has spent most of his time in the United States, but then what happened was he spends most of his time in the United States. He goes to Germany in Civil War. He also shows up in Switzerland in Infinity War. So yeah, it's not. He has been to a lot of countries, as this show will show him going to more countries. Because we start off in Tunisia, and then now he's basically going to go to other places. That's later in the show. He's going to go to Madripoor, and then there's that truck fight sequence where he's going to be in Germany on Autobahn on that road. But yeah. So Torres here is mentioning the flag smashers, and this is their symbol. Basically, he's saying how they think that the world was better during the blip. Now, not this is just my opinion, but I think that the world was way worse during the blip. It maybe the reason why is because the flag smasher they got to benefit off of Thanos. Like for example, maybe everything that Thanos was saying for that would actually benefit the universe was actually helping them. But then once the Avengers brought everybody back, it was kind of like why? And then so Sam goes to this speech and he is basically giving away the shield back to the government, which I really wish he didn't do, but he's doing it. Now, Rhodey also cameos in this scene, along with this guy, which I'll get to later. So Sam is giving the speech and he says how symbols are nothing without the men and women who give them meaning. So this is basically, I think that this reminds me of the shield before it came to Captain America, because the shield was just silver and then Captain America gave it, and then it had meaning. But yeah, that's just my opinion. But also, one funny detail I like is how Cap is on Sam's left, always on his left. Anyway, then he gives the shield to the government, and this shield is a new shield, not the old one. The original shield was crushed by Thanos' sword in Endgame. So what happened was Steve, when he went back in time to live out the rest of his life, he basically went into an alternate reality, and then he somehow quantumed back into this one, and then he basically gave the shield to Sam Wilson. So this is basically a new shield. So this basically confirms that there's an alternate timeline where everything is complete chaos. While yeah, but I'm not sure though. And then this guy says that it was good to give the shield, and then Rhodey came in the scene. He also has all these flags on him. This might be all the countries he's been to, but I'm not sure though. And then we see a lot of stuff right here as Bucky Barnes. This is from Captain America: The First Avenger. This I cannot read it. This I cannot read it. But yeah, but this one, and it says friend and brother killed in action. This is probably before it got updated, where this is probably when Bucky got captured, but then they died. But yeah, well, they didn't really die, but yeah. And then Brody's trying to figure out why he didn't take up the mantle. Now there's lots of stuff here too, where he says, "I want you to buy war bonds now." Then there's this original comic where he punches Hitler, which you can't see, and then there's this scene where he's stepping on Hitler's back, which that kind of hurts. But he is Hitler, so yeah. Then we get more as we also see his truck that he uses this as a shield temporarily. And then yeah, this is basically he's mimicking Uncle Sam right here. So yeah. And then Rhodey's trying to figure out why he didn't take off the mantle. And then Sam just doesn't think that he's fit for it, apparently. But yeah. Also, in the background of this scene, you can see the Shield logo and the Hydra logo, as this was used in WandaVision for some of the commercials. But yeah. Now, this scene is mostly from World War II. Actually, most of these are from Captain America: The First Avenger. This is the shield. This was the original shield that he used before he got the vibranium one. This is supposed to be Cap's motorcycle that he used in the final battle. These are probably his helmets. This is probably a gun that he used. This is the comic that I mentioned earlier. And then this is probably another helmet for some reason. I don't know why. And then, yeah. So now we get into this flashback scene where when I saw this in the trailers, I thought that it was I thought that it was one of the Flag Smashers, but turns out I was wrong. This is actually a flashback to Bucky killing a bunch of people in Russia. So yeah, this series travels all over the world. We started in Tunisia, and then we go to Washington, D.C. because we're at that speech right here, and then now we're back to Russia. So yeah, this might come up again in the Black Widow movie, but I'm not sure though. It might be mentioned once, but yeah, because Natasha did have a run-in with Bucky, so yeah. Like, anyways, and then he also kills this man right here, which kind of triggers him. So he goes to this therapist, and it's springtime here, kind of like the Winter Soldier melting into spring. Anyway, so he's meeting with this therapist. Now, this therapist is the person in the trailer who says, just blink. And then yeah, because he never blinks. But yeah, basically Bucky has been following these three rules to make amends, basically to not hurt anyone, don't do anything illegal, and say you're not the Winter Soldier. So then he has this list, which we have a lot, well, not much, but yeah. So there's H and then Zemo, which basically is this. And then there's this guy in Rostov. Now this guy would be the Red Barbarian in the comics, but yeah. Now, over with Sam, he's going back to Louisiana to visit his family. Now, in real life, Anthony Mackie, the actor who plays Sam, does live in Louisiana. Like when he's not filming movies and stuff, that is where he usually lives. So yeah, and it was kind of funny. So Bucky meets up with this guy, with this old guy right here, and then he also understands his Japanese. So Bucky understands at least like three languages. Well, he probably understands a lot more, but like on screen, we've only seen him like understand a couple. Like he knows English, obviously, and then he also knows. He also, I guess, he understands Japanese since he killed the Japanese guy. But yeah, and then so yeah, he probably understands that. So yeah, and he also understands Romanian because he in Civil War or he hid in Romania. But yeah, so yeah, so he meets up with this guy and he actually wants to go apologize because he's the father of the son that he killed earlier in this flashback right here. That's supposed to be his son, the old man's son. So yeah. So he tries to make amends and that's part of his thing, but he couldn't do it. Which I really wish he did because now we have another Tony Stark, Howard Stark, Maria Stark situation now. Basically, Bucky killed someone. He killed someone, only it switched where he killed the son instead of the father. And yeah, because in Civil War, Bucky killed Tony Stark's parents, and then this basically caused a rift between them. So yeah, so now over with Bucky, we also, or no, not Bucky, over with Sam, we meet their parents, Paul and Darlene, but they're not there, but they passed away. But we also meet Sam's sister, Sarah Wilson, and then she also has two nephews. She also has two nephews who are who also call him Uncle Sam, and she paints him as Uncle Sam. So yeah, that was kind of funny, but yeah. And then now over with Torres because he separated from Sam. I don't know. Well, anyway, so he went with Torres. Joaquin went with. He went to go investigate this robbing of a Swiss bank, and he's given a mask by these people, the Flag Smashers, and their leader is Carly Morgenthau, who's in the credits. But yeah, so, and then he's given a mask, even though he's not really part of their group. And then there's a robbing that takes place where basically she steals a bunch of bags, and then he tries to stop her, but he's way outmatched because apparently they have been juicing on some super soldier serum. At least that's probably most likely because in the trailers, in one shot, you can actually see the Flag Smashers doing some crazy stuff. Like for example, one of them grabs Red Wing mid-air and they basically crush him with their knee. So everybody pay respects to Red Wing in the comments. Pay respects to Red Wing 2016 to 2021. Or no, not 2021. 2024. But yeah. So yeah, pay respects to that. But he's outmatched, and I do think that Joaquin. This might be a stretch, but Joaquin might be this guy who Bucky throws the knife at because there's a mustache. There's like kind of a beard right there, so this might be possible. But yeah, now the final shot of this episode is where Sam is watching TV. He's watching TV and he sees also Sam is before I go into this before that over with him he's been struggling a lot with income and finance because what happened was, you see, Sam got blipped, as we know, but his sister Sarah did not, and so did his nephews. They did not get blipped. And what also happened is now Sam has to figure out a way to get money. So the reason why he's been working with the Air Force and doing all these missions like stopping Batroc is because he's trying to make money for his family so then they can actually keep their boat. And the Avengers finance hasn't really been an issue that's been questioned, but even they never really had an issue with money because Stark was either around or something like that. But one thing that is that like makes me curious is that what happened to characters like Cap, Natasha, and Sam and Wanda and Vision because they were on the run, so they had how are they going to survive? My guess is that T'Challa might have hooked them up with some funding because he is one of the richest people in the MCU. So, and it's possible that like after their arrangement, T'Challa like gives them like a lot of money or something like that, and that's how they get by. So yeah, but I'm not sure though. But now since apparently Chadwick Boseman is gone, now this does come into issue. So now Sam is gonna have it. So Sam was trying to go to a bank, but the issue was the bank person was saying you haven't had income in the last 5 years. Well, because it was gone, idiots. So yeah, like that was kind of I don't know. like that was very unfair, and especially with that final scene, it really hurts at the end. So the final scene is where the same officer who says giving the shield is the right thing to do, he says we need new heroes, and apparently what happened was they roll out one where they put a new guy in Captain America. Now Sam is regretting this really badly because he knows that if he hadn't given the shield, then the government wouldn't. Basically, the government pretty much double crossed him, like they literally tricked him into giving the shield to them so that they were planning on using. I bet this was probably planned from the beginning, or maybe there's probably more layers to it too, because this is because they're basically setting up Sam to fail, and now having someone else who already doesn't like them is already gonna cause an issue now. So yeah, at least like in my opinion, but yeah, and then so also one note right here, just before we get on to the end, um, Walker has a gun. You can't really see it fully, but you can see like the handle of the gun right by him. Now, Cap used a gun in World War II. I mean, it was a World War, so he used it in World War II to fight. But in the modern day, he used a shield, which is mostly simplified by his fight sequence. For example, Cap does go on the offense a lot, but his shield is meant for defense, so that means he's on the defensive. So the fact that John Walker has a gun is making it a little more escalate. That's more violent. Like for example, Cap beat Tony without using a gun at all, and then Bucky just uses metal arm. But yeah, so it might be possible that ever since the Flag Smashers became an issue after with that whole robbing in Switzerland, but after all that, it's possible that the government just wants Walker to kill them because basically John Walker is basically Hayward, but for this show because Hayward was willing to kill kids, and that's just messed up. So yeah, like yeah, that ain't good. Um so, yeah, Walker might try to just kill the Flag Smashers while Bucky and Sam might try to more reason with them. Because there's a shot in one of the promos for episode 2 that basically shows the leader of the Flag Smashers, Carly Morgenthau, holding a child and she's crowded. It might be possible that the Flag Smashers are rejected refugees, but we still have to wait and see. So yeah, and he also takes the shield, which I know it's really hurts. And then he has this new outfit, and it looks way different than Captain America's. In fact, it actually looks more similar to Bucky's, but like more bright. Like Bucky had an outfit similar to this. So basically, the government is double crossing Sam, and now Walker's already gonna cause a bunch of more chaos and mayhem. Like for example, in that truck sequence fight, he's gonna cause in episode like 6 or no, not 6 in episode like 3 or 4, he's gonna cause an issue in Germany. I don't think he shows up in Madripoor at all, but yeah. And then we have Helmut Zemo, who's on Bucky's amend list to make amends with. And then we have Carly Morgenthau and her Flag Smasher group, and the fact that Torres just got beaten the crap out of. So yeah, this episode was amazing, and it was amazing in my opinion. And the only thing I did like that we actually did get a mention of Zemo, but we don't actually see him. I wonder what his motives are, even though in the trailer he does say that he is out to just kill all superheroes. So that means he might be against the Flag Smashers, but yeah. But I'm not sure. But we'll have to wait next week. But uh that was an amazing episode. Definitely a 10 out of 10. Good start to the first. Good start to this new series. Many already like a few cameos already from Rhodey, as we don't know if he might show up later. But anyway, subscribe.